You probably already know what to expect when you go see a biographical musical, especially one about a musical artist. It's typically their life story told through the songs that they've made famous either through writing or singing, and of course, songs by their peers that are featured in the show. And that's no different with A Wonderful World, the Louis Armstrong musical. And by the way, I'm going to refer to him as Louis because through my research, it appeared that that is what he preferred to go by instead of Louis. But I have to applaud book writer Aurin Squire and co-conceivers Andrew Delaplane and Christopher Renshaw, because this was a more sophisticated biomusical than I have seen in a long time. And it ends up feeling a lot more timely because throughout the show, a common theme that comes up is Louis is constantly warned not to get political. Otherwise, it could jeopardize his career. And I thought that was really interesting. And we see how that weighs on him throughout the entire show. So I really appreciated that the story went in this direction. And speaking of Christopher Renshaw, he is one of the 3 co-directors of the piece. It's himself, Christina Sajous, and James Monroe Iglehart, who, yes, also is in the show as the title character. He just completely escapes into the role of Louis Armstrong, and imperfections and all. He's not a perfect character, which I appreciated. And he got his voice he does his voice so well. I really would like to speak to whoever James Monroe Iglehart worked with to make sure he was doing this voice healthily, if he did work with a voice teacher, because I just thought it was really cool. And he just melts into this role and will probably be nominated for his performance here. I mean, we'll see how awards play out because it is a very competitive year, but he definitely will get a nomination. The show also focuses a lot on Louis's 4 wives. All 4 of the performers who portray each one does a fantastic job. However, I was more drawn to the characters of Lillian or Lil Hardin, played by Jennie Harney-Fleming, and Lucille Wilson, who is played by Darlesia Cearcy. I feel that they have the best chance out of all of the supporting women characters to be nominated. Their characters feel like they have more to do than like the characters of Daisy Parker, played by Dionne Figgins, and Alpha Smith, played by Kim Exum. These 2 performers, they make the most out of their roles, but the characters don't feel as significant to the story of Louis Armstrong as I think that the musical wants them to feel. I did not like that the show seemed to suggest that Louis's infidelity was because he had too much love to give. I mean, that comes up quite a lot in the context of Louis sharing love around the world, and I get that perspective, but it also seemed to apply to his relationships. And I didn't like that we went in that direction with that theme. And the show seems to want the audience to believe that each one of Louis's wives played an important role in building the man who he ended up being. And I don't know if that weighs the same for all of the wives. I mean, for example, Lillian Hardin is definitely a pivotal person in Louis Armstrong's life. I mean, it's incredible. I want an entire musical just based on Lillian Hardin's life. I did some research on her after the show because I was so curious. She's definitely deserving of her own piece. Really, what an incredible person. But what I really liked about her scenes is that she reminded Louis to know his self-worth. And in many ways, I think that this heightened so many of the themes that came after that scene in the show. Gavin Gregory plays King Joe Oliver, and he fills the space with his presence, and I would really like to see him get nominated for supporting actor. I think he was excellent. And Dewitt Fleming Jr. plays a character named Lincoln Perry, and he was also responsible for choreographing the tap numbers in this musical. So I thought that was pretty cool too. We have a director who is in the show, and we have one of the choreographers who's in the show. And Rickey Tripp does the other choreography in the musical staging and delivers energetic dances meant the thrilling jazz music. I want to give a big shout out to the music team, who I think honors the music of the artist. I'm not sure who was quite responsible for what. I mean, I can make assumptions, but I just wanted to applaud them. You're going to hear great music. And if you're excited about great trumpet playing, you're going to the right place. The trumpets are on full blast, and I loved hearing them. Here is a view from my seat. I had a great view of the action and the gorgeous set design by Adam Koch and Stephen Royal. It's funny, during the show, I was like, this looks like an Adam Koch design. And I was half right. And in many ways, I do think that the set design also does sort of play into the themes of the show. It's a very grand set, but in looking closely at it, I think it's a lot more sophisticated too, and actually matches the tone of the book very well. The legroom was torturous. I have never experienced legroom as bad as it was here at Studio 54. If you're in the rear mezzanine and you are taller than like 5'8", or you have long legs, good luck. I had to sit sideways the entire time. I mean, thank goodness I was on the aisle, but I was in so much pain, and I know that the person sitting next to me was also a taller gentleman, and he voiced that he was also in pain. So not the best. It did look like that if you were sitting in the front of the rear mezzanine that you had some more leg room. I would look into that if you're on the taller side, or maybe see if there's any options in the orchestra. Otherwise, I thought the theater was beautiful. It was actually my first time being in Studio 54, and for the most part, besides the legroom, I really enjoyed what it had to offer. There were restrooms located in the lobby and on the mezzanine level, and there is one single stall accessible restroom in the lobby as well. There were extremely long lines at intermission for the bathroom, so just plan accordingly. So, should you see A Wonderful World, the Louis Armstrong musical, before it closes? If you're a Louis Armstrong fan, absolutely go and see it. Again, James Monroe, Iglehart, and the cast do such a phenomenal job. I think you're going to have a really great time. If you love jazz music, I mean, do it. I think that's an obvious one. You're going to really love the music here. If you also just like a biographical musical, I think this is a great one to see. Those are my thoughts on A Wonderful World, the Louis Armstrong musical, now playing at Studio 54. I would love to read your thoughts in the comment section below. I would also very much appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to check out some of my other reviews and theater-related content on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to stay off your phones while at the theater.